Ah, Warhammer. I wish Henry Cavill was there. If Henry Cavill were to be in Warhammer, honestly, I think the franchise will still be maintained. But sadly, Henry Cavill knows that it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. But I prayed his Superman legacy is going to be better than this one. Now, before we get ahead of ourselves, we're gonna react to the article that is from MSN. A headline reads, Warhammer 40k players are up in arms over woke controversy of women existing. I know it's a long, or perhaps 2 months ago, but let's see this. No matter what kind of game you're playing, gamers still seem to have immense difficulty wrapping their heads around the concept of women. In recent years, video game studios have received some backlash for perceived wokeism being injected into narrative. However, the apparently controversial agenda always seems to boil down to women, POC or people of color, or LGBTQ simply existing in fictionalized universe even when they have little to no bearing on the overall lore. Despite some existing narrative issue, The Last of Us Part 2 was lambasted before its release by homophobic, transphobic, and misogynistic critics for its non-intrusive themes and inclusion. God of War Ragnarok received similar backlash for its inclusion of black characters in Norse mythology, even though Kratos' presence already alters it entirely. Unfortunately, controversy has extended to the tabletop games like Warhammer 40k. Keep reading as we try to break down the woke controversy. Yeah, you don't need to. I think we already know. Yeah. This started in 2024. Several new codex, Adeptus Custodius. Well, you guys know this part. I don't want to rehash this. However, the inclusion of women in this particular faction has caused controversy among players who long believed that custodes were composed entirely of men, which is true, correct. The conversation over including women in the custodes exploded on X, formerly Twitter, with fans become vocal over earth-shattering revelation of women being included. When asked by angry fan why women were put into the faction, Warhammer Twitter replied, since the first of the 10,000 were created, there will always been female custodians. I don't remember that. Fans have not taken kindly to either the news or Warhammer's response, with many believing that this new fact supposedly retcon existing Warhammer lore entirely. Some have even taken the pre-existing lore behind women in other Warhammer factions as a talking point against their inclusion in the custodes. On X, many have accused the developer of wokeism by including women in another established faction, which it did. However, many argue that the revelation of women in the custodes doesn't actually have any meaningful impact on the existing lore. It isn't to say that their inclusion doesn't matter, simply that women can be worked into the custodes without disrupting any existing storyline or lore aside from fan-made notion and headcanon. Others don't necessarily have a problem with women in the custodes, but instead took the umbrage with how Games Workshop respond to the ensuing controversy. Naturally, this argument includes plenty of back and forth with folks attempting to tout the established lore for either side of the conflict. Of course, the issue like this, there's always non-zero % chance that male gamers are once again finding roundabouts ways to put up no girls allowed sign over their favorite games. Okay, that's a mouthful. Let's think about that for a second, folks. The problem is, the name of that game is Warhammer, okay? I mean, yeah, think about it for a second. Why does it always all men? How come many military is comprised mainly of men? I mean, yes, there are women in the military and in the police force, but majority of them, and I say majority, are men. Yes, there are women. However, I don't know what to say this, guys. I'm baffled. There's always been female gamers every time. There are some who are fans of it. The problem is, well, you see a problem, you create the problem and try to fix it just like a Smith, or I don't know how they fix it. It's consultancy, I don't want to know. But regardless, Warhammer has already existed and has already built a dedicated fan. And that includes many women. I mean, this is called pandering, of which I have to say, I wish Henry Cavill was still there, but I know Henry Cavill did the right thing and move on. He knows it's not gonna work. This is most likely be woke, no doubt about it.
Is it over?
Leave a like and subscribe, comment down below what do you guys think about this. And if you want gaming news or anything, you can visit my first channel up here or link in the description right down below.